menu.
Folks, welcome back to another Magnus's Loot Crate. I am your host, as always, Magnus. A couple of things I have to get out of the way before we get into the video proper this time. Magnus's Loot Crate is going into the realm of 3D printing these days. So, maybe Magnus's Loot Crate will be a little bit more than just goofy videos that I throw on the internet to entertain myself and whoever watches, who knows. Also, Magnus's Loot Crate has a new merch store. The link for that will be in the description. Also, with a couple other links, you'll see what I mean when the ads pop up. But folks, let's go ahead and get into this video and see what we got in the Legends sphere.
Why can't anyone see it? Inferno wants my job!
Alright folks, starting off, we're going to have a little bit of a double act in this particular Loot Crate Legends video. We're going to start it off with MS-B08 Flame Patrol, the first Legends figure I actually got, and my first Magic Square figure. He is, of course, their version of Red Alert, and I got him for $27.99 at the Chosen Prime. He is a very nice little figure, and of course he's also, you know, as with the next one in line, he's sort of a repaint version. Yeah, they have their version of Sideswipe and Red Alert. Of course, they're both the same vehicle, the Lamborghini Countach, which I've always had to wonder what fire chief anywhere can afford to have a Lamborghini Countach as his fire chief vehicle. But you gotta suspend your disbelief just a little bit. But so while we're on the subject of his vehicle mode, let's go ahead and transform him and take a look at that vehicle mode. Alright, here's Flame Patrol's vehicle mode. Very nice little representation of a Lamborghini Countach, which is particularly hot car from the 1980s. All the kids wanted one. But it is a very nice looking, and you know, the paint job and the little light bar on top of the vehicle definitely screams out that it's some sort of an emergency vehicle. As I said, in his bot mode, I don't know what town could afford to give their fire chief a Lamborghini as his personal vehicle, as his personal emergency vehicle. Then again, I don't know what fire chief could afford to buy one of these. They're a little bit expensive, just so you know. But it is still a nice little car mode and definitely worth picking up. He is one of their older releases, so he may be a little hard to find, but he is definitely a nice little vehicle. So yeah, go ahead, when you get a chance to, go ahead and pick one up, because he is definitely worth having in your collection.
What are friends for, Red?
Continuing on in our little double act here, this is Magic Square's MS-B02 Fire Extinguisher, their version of Inferno from Transformers Season 2. Now, he is a very nice little figure. If you guys watched one of my previous Legends figures videos, you probably already saw Architect, which, you know, they're basically a repaint situation. They're the exact same bot, just one repainted into the other figure. Now, I don't know which one they made up first. I just know B01 is Architect, B02 is Fire Extinguisher, but they're basically sort of retool, repaint situation. one of the other. And they work very well as far as that goes for the characters they represent. Now, I do like Fire Extinguisher here. I got him for $35 at TF Source. He is a very nice little figure. And for the character he represents, he is actually pretty nice as far as characters go. And as far as figures go. But that is his bot mode. Let's go ahead and take a look at that fire truck mode.
Oh, this job has my name on it.
Alright folks, here's Fire Extinguisher's vehicle mode, and as you can see, he has the extendable ladder. Now, both vehicles, you know, the fire truck and the crane truck, are both modeled after the I'm trying not to say it the way I normally do, sorry. The Mitsubishi Fuso. I think it's pronounced Fuso, F-U-S-O. European style fire truck, anyway. But yeah, it's still a pretty nice little fire truck. I mean, you can tell what it is. That's the biggest thing. If it transforms into a vehicle, you want to know exactly what it is. But it is a very nice little fire truck, and I can honestly say I could probably give this one to my nephews if I ever got a replacement that was better. I'm not really that interested in the remold that was done by McFans Toys because I like this one. Yeah, I like the Legends figures, not the Legends Plus. A little bit smaller, but still nice figures. But anyway, that is a MS-B02 fire extinguisher. If you get a chance to, pick him up. He's a really decent little figure.
Oh my, it's paradise.
Now folks, we're going to do yet another double act in this video. This is MS-B03, I think, 4-wheel drive. He comes in a 2-pack with their version of Sea Spray, and we'll get to him in a minute. But this is Magic Square's representation, of Beachcomber. And he is a very nice little figure, very highly posable, surprisingly enough. At least I was kind of surprised by it, because this 2-pack was one of the first sets of Magic Square figures I ever bought. So of course, I was a little bit taken aback to see just how posable these figures are. And, I mean, you can't really move the hands, you can move the arms up and down, you can move the legs, bend the knees, all that good stuff, but I was surprised just how posable these smaller figures actually are. And the 2-pack is $49.99. I got him at ShowZ Prime along with his counterpart, which we'll get to in a minute. But he is definitely a nice little figure. And we're going to go ahead and transform him up so you can see that sweet, sweet little dune buggy mode of his. Alright folks, this is the transformed vehicle mode of 4-wheel drive. Definitely not as great as it could be, I will admit. I mean, so far, he's really, I think, the only Legends size Beachcomber other than the official Hasbro or Takara version. But for as small as he is, he's got a fairly complex little transformation, and it doesn't really look that horrifying. I mean, if you're putting him in amongst a group of vehicles on a display, he would definitely, blend right in. So definitely not a bad little figure, and definitely not a bad little vehicle mode. So folks, that is MS-B03 4-wheel drive. Let's go ahead and take a look at his bunk buddy there, shall we?
The Transformers will return after these messages.
Greetings, Magnus Corps! Welcome once again to another Loot Crate. Anyhow, come see me on the Late Show every Friday night at 11 p.m. Central.
Spirit Sword, now available wherever great books are sold.
We now return to the Transformers.
Just supervising a little cleanup operation.
Now, folks, when it comes to these 2-packs, I kind of enjoy showing off each one individually. I mean, even if they come together, it's well worth it just to show, you know. I mean, with something like the Insecticons or a 3-pack where, you know, where you really, you know, you're going to see all 3 of them together anyway in the cartoons. You rarely see them all apart. This is definitely a good one. This is MS-B05 Surfer, their version of Sea Spray. He comes, like I said in the last section, he comes in a 2-pack with 4-wheel drive for $49.99. You already pretty well know the price anyway. Got him from the Chosen Prime, like I said before. But as you can see here, he is a pretty nice little figure, except for the fact that they kind of have to give him those ginormous clodhopper feet. He is a pretty good little figure, and his posability is not that bad, all things considered. I mean, he's, you know, his wrist has movement. You can pull his elbows out and move those around. He's got like bicep swivel and all that, foot rockers, the whole shebang. And to be perfectly honest with you, I really like this figure. I mean, he's kind of not quite perfectly cartoon accurate, but in Legend size, I think I can forgive that a little bit more, just out of the fact of how small they actually are. But anyway, let's transform him up and take a look at that hovercraft mode. So being that these two are the beachy duo, the ones you would be most likely to see down at the beach, this is actually not a bad little hovercraft mode for Sea Spray, to be completely honest with you. I mean, I definitely do like this mode on him. But what I have to say is it's definitely worth picking up, just purely and simply for the fact that, you know, even if you give them to your kids as toys to play with, they're definitely worth picking up because they're a fun little set of figures to have. And unless somebody comes out with a Legends set of these that really wows me sometime in the near future, I don't see any reason to get rid of these. Like I've said before, Magic Square is kind of my favorite. I mean, people do gripe about the dull paint jobs. I'm not really sure they paint them, or maybe they paint them with a flatter paint. That could be the case. I think it's just colored plastic, to be totally honest with you guys, because I think they can get away with that more in these Legends figures than they could with Masterpiece figures. Some paint would be nice, but I can't complain. But folks, that is MS-B05 Surfer. If you get a chance to, why don't you pick one up?
This place.
Now, folks, I honestly have to say that I really particularly like this figure. He's about the size of, I would say, a Voyager class figure, if you're familiar with normal Transformers, like the Takara brand, Hasbro brand. He's about the size of a Voyager class figure, and he's not bad. This is MF34's Huge Dragon from Mech Fans Toys. And I got him for about $55 on eBay. As you can also see, I put the Toy Hacks, the repro labels on him. That was a pain in the penis. I can tell you that right now. It was not an enjoyable experience to put the stickers on him because he has so many. Now, when the back turns around, he had one that looked like an on and off switch that could go in that little compartment on his back, but I left that one out because I don't want him to look like the toy. I want him to look nice. But otherwise, he does look really nice. I've heard people complain, I think, about the face behind the face shield, but honestly, I really like it for what it is. It's a really nice figure, and he's nice and beefy too. And when he scales really well with Legends class figures, I can tell you that. I mean, he is a Legends class himself, but he's a pretty big boy compared to most other Legend size figures. But let's transform. Now you do have, I was going to transform him up right now, but I better mention first, if you get him, you do have the option of several different base modes. But being the G1 nerd that I am, I prefer his original base mode. And with that having been said, let's transform him up and take a look at that G1 base mode.
High time I got on the job too. What happened?
Alright folks, here's this G1 base mode. As you can see, the head and like the tank part is like the head and folds up to go inside the chest. He comes apart like a proper Omega Supreme should to transform into this base mode. And I really dig it because it does look like the rocket base that you saw in the original G1 cartoon. As you can tell, he's a little big for the turntable that I put him on. But let's face it, you wouldn't want him to be small enough to fit on that turntable anyway. But that is Omega Supreme MF34 Huge Dragon from Mech Fans Toys. A gorgeous figure, and if you can get him for, you can usually get him for around $60 at most any store that sells him. And he is definitely one I would highly recommend. So if you get a chance to pick up Huge Dragon, he's definitely worth it.
Your meal is escaping. In that case, I better hop to it.
Now folks, this is New Age's H10, H11, and H12. It's a 3-pack. We have Abaddon, Asmodeus, and Burial, aka Kickback, Shrapnel, and Bombshell, the Insecticons. These are the versions from New Age. As you can see, they're quite small, but for $54.99, they're actually not a bad little set of Insecticon figures. They look pretty good, and they're kind of fun to mess around with. This is one of the few where I actually have all them and all their accessories on the same turntable. You can see the 3 little Energon cubes that they come with, and they each come with their little weapon. That's pretty much all you get in this 3-pack. But like I say, $55, not really that bad, and they all look pretty good. They're kind of small. I think all 3 of them just barely are taller than the lighter that I use on the turntable to show them off with. But they are pretty nice little figures, and pretty sturdy, and pretty easy to transform. And with that thought in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at their insect modes.
Insecticons, transform! Attack!
Alright, so here we are with the New Age Insecticons insect modes, and if you're not a big fan of creepy crawlies, you might want to sit this one out unless you just want the Insecticons to complete a set. But they are pretty nice little figures. Bombshell's weapon is the only one that actually integrates into the insect mode. As you can see, it's his little antenna off the front. You can store the weapons, as you can probably see on Kickback. You can store his gun, like, right by his rear end of his grasshopper mode, I guess you could say. But they're not bad little figures, and I really like them. You put him in his hands to store his weapon. But they are really nice little figures. They're fairly simple and fun to transform. And they are not a bad little set. If you get a chance to, definitely pick these 3 up if you're a Legends collector. And folks, that's New Age's Insecticons.
You have had the only warning I intend to give.
Now folks, this one was a little bit of a latecomer to the party, but I figured I'd throw it in just as a little bit of a special treat on the end of the video. This is New Age H9 Agamemnon. For those of you who've been having trouble pronouncing it. I got it for $45.99 at ShowZ store, and this is a very, very nice little Megatron figure that I got from them. I have to say, New Age makes them a little smaller than my taste, but this one is pretty good size, all things considered. It's a very lovely little figure, and he does come with that little blast effect that you see on the end of his cannon. Thought I'd throw that in there just because, why not? He looks a lot better with it sticking out of the end of his cannon. He looks like he's shooting somebody. Why not? Megatron, of course, a lot of people don't realize, and I probably should save this for after his transformation, but Megatron, as you can probably see behind me, was modeled after the Man from U.N.C.L.'s special. Yeah, Walther P-38 is heavily modified with a shoulder stock, a sight, and a longer barrel. Which, yeah, why not? He was perfect for the role of the main bad guy, as far as I was concerned. But while we're on the topic, let's go ahead and transform him and take a look at his gun.
Decepticons, transform! Transform!
Alright folks, here's Megatron's gun mode, and it is gorgeous, as far as I'm concerned. Surprisingly looks really good for a Legends figure. I have to say that. As you can tell, he's got the stock, the barrel, and everything. And as you can tell from the animation model, pretty dead on, because the barrel, the scope actually extends, so it looks different from when it's in his arm cannon mode. Which, oddly enough, looking at the animation model after I when I was originally throwing this video together, I was like, oh wow, that is a little bit longer in gun mode. And it is really, it's a gorgeous piece. I mean, that definitely, as far as I'm concerned, definitely worth picking up. I'm waiting to see what the Magic Square version is going to look like. You guys will get to see that one too when it comes out, so you can kind of weigh the pros and cons. And I may even do like a side-by-side comparison if I can figure out the right way to do it. But folks, that is New Age's H9 Agamemnon. Definitely a gorgeous figure, and definitely worth checking out if you get the chance. And folks, that'll do it for this edition of the Magnus's Loot Crate. As I said in the beginning of the video, I will be doing 3D printing. I've got one at home. I'm going to look into it. Maybe I'll start making some nice little accessories for my bots. Maybe you'll want to buy them. Who knows? We'll see what happens down the road. But folks, as always, I will see you next time.